Welcome home. Good morning, grand rising. There is in this place the possibility of healing, of repair. Oh, I can't see it that good. Of making things right within ourselves, between us and the wider world. We gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
Welcome, everyone. Grand Rising. Happy Sunday to you all. We're so glad you're here joining us as we have our early celebration of Juneteenth. I guess you can celebrate it all week long and ending on Juneteenth, and honestly all year long. But we always feel that it's so important to honor Juneteenth here at Wedgewood. So we're happy that you've joined us today. We have just a few announcements and upcoming events to share. Excuse me. Next Sunday at Wedgewood, our very own Melba will be back with us. She's been in Canada loving on a brand new itty bitty grandbaby. And she's going to be returning next Sunday and leading us in a Father's Day reflection. Um, Father's Day can have a lot of different meaning for a lot of different folks and feel a lot of different ways. And Melba's going to be leading us in a reflection on all of that. So we hope to see you there. And our call to action for this summer continues, supporting Time Out Youth. If you would like to support their Life Essentials Closet and their food pantry, we have the list of items that they're looking for. You can take them directly to Time Out Youth yourself or have someone from Wedgewood pick them up from you and we can take them over. But this is something that we're working with them on for the next few months, so we hope that you support. And our Social Justice Book Club, summer it's a rest time, and so we are taking a little bit of a break for our book club for the summer, but we are going to be returning in September. So enjoy this time off, and we will let you know when we start back up. I know it's going to be in September, and we hope that you join us with our book club. It's been going on for a number of years now, and we've had probably 20 or so books. It's been a really great program. So we hope that you join us.
Liz,
Yes.
we'll resume the book club on the 10th of September.
10th of September. Okay, perfect. I'm going to, I'll add that in to September 10th. Thank you, Tom. And the last Sunday in June, we are not going to have a regular service because we are going to be having our third annual laundry day with the Laundry Project from Current Initiatives. This is probably one of my favorite acts of service that we do at Wedgewood. Where we get together with the wonderful folks at Current Initiative, and they have something called a laundry project where they take over a laundromat for a few hours, and anyone who walks through the door gets their laundry for free. No questions asked. There's no paperwork. You don't have to provide identification. It's just truly such a wonderful experience, and it's been a great thing for us to be a part of, and we like to go to lunch afterwards. We do ask that you sign up in advance because for the folks at Current, they kind of need to know how many folks to expect just logistically for their end. So if you want to join us, the link is available on our social media, in our newsletter, and on our website. But we hope that you join us. It's going to be a fantastic day. And did you know we have a community events calendar that we keep updated? So if you know of any events happening around town or in the community locally that you think we should include on the calendar, please let us know. You can email us at wedgwood.church@yahoo.com or send us a direct message on social media, and we'd be glad to add it in. Thank you very much. And next up, we have Reggie and Ashanti with our extravagant welcome.
We are all welcome here.
Welcome to a community that works for peace, justice, equality, and care of Mother Earth.
We are all welcome here.
An extravagant welcome to you because of your gender identification, sexual orientation, ethnicity, economic situation, physical and mental challenges, doubting or believing, being depressed, or full of joy.
We are all welcome here.
We are a community of curious and creative spiritual seekers striving to learn from and embody the way of Jesus and other spiritual leaders.
We are all welcome here.
And we focus on the plundered and the marginalized as we try to address the major issues of our days.
We are all welcome here.
And you are invited to share your passion, your inspiration, and your personal stories as one of the ways to help us heal the world.
We are all welcome here.
We are all welcome here. Thank you, Reggie.
Yes, we truly are all welcome here, and you are welcome here too.
And now, next we have a quote by Nelson Mandela. Very simple quote, but very powerful words. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. I'll read that one more time. Got to sink in simple words. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. Something to ponder.
Yeah, just gotta let that wash over you sometime. And actually, as you let those words sink in, think about what that means for you and your life and the people you love and the world that you want to co-create with the rest of us, the world that we want to believe in. And also, it's important to, as we do that, take some time to think about what we want to lift up. So if there's anything on your heart, celebrations or concerns that you want to share, that to speak out about, please do so now. And then we want to lift up Melba as she comes back. We missed her. We're glad she's coming home. I'm thinking a lot about Juneteenth and what that legacy means and the injustices that happened and continue to happen. So as you feel so moved, take some time to pray, meditate, sit with what has been both said and unsaid. Amen.
Amen. Ashe.
Well, it is my privilege and honor to introduce, to those who don't know, my friend, longtime Wedgewoodian, Ashanti Munir, who has done so many great things both here and beyond Wedgewood. And today she is going to, she's inviting us to explore the journey from emancipation to Juneteenth, tracing the events and examining the silence that followed emancipation, the ways which freedom was delayed, withheld, and resisted, and what it means for that when that long-awaited arrival finally came.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ashanti.
Yeah, that's the story. That's the story in a nutshell. A story that every American should know. Welcome. Today I want to tell you a simple story, but one that every American should know. I want you to follow along with me as we walk through it together. Let's go to the next slide, please. Before June 19th. Now you have to understand the meaning of that day. We must first understand the world that came before it. The United States was built on a profound contradiction, a land of declared freedom that enslaved millions of human beings. The entire Southern economy depended on enslaved labor, cotton, tobacco, sugar, all built on unpaid forced labor. The wealth of a nation extracted from people who were given nothing in return. And yet, despite everything done to crush them, the enslaved people of America persisted. They built communities, they preserved their music, they held on to their faith, they protected their families as best as they could. This is the world before June 19th. Just hold that in your mind. Let's go on to the next slide here. The long shadow of slavery. They built the economy of an entire nation. The cities, the plantations, the infrastructure of the South. American culture itself, the music, the food, the language, carries their fingerprints. The agricultural wealth that powered this country was grown, harvested, and processed by the hands that were never paid. And they were denied so much. Wages, ownership, freedom of movement, the legal recognition of their marriages and families, the right to read or write, their own names, languages, and identities. Despite this, the enslaved people preserved their culture, an extraordinary act of dignity under unimaginable conditions. Unimaginable. For nearly 250 years, millions of Americans, African Americans, were held in bondage, bought, sold, and forced to labor without pay or freedom of rights. Let's go on to the next slide. The Civil War, 1861 to 1865. In 1861, the Southern states seceded from the Union. I want to be clear about why, though. And it was for the protection of the institution of slavery. That's what they were fighting for. You can read it in their own words. The secession and declarations say it so plainly. As the war progressed, something remarkable began happening. Enslaved people started escaping to Union lines. They were not sent back. The Union Army called them contrabands of war. Legally, property seized from the enemy. It was kind of a cold, bureaucratic term. But its consequences was profound. For the first time, there was a path. Enslaved people who reached the Union lines were free in practice, even before any proclamation said so. The war grounded on for 4 brutal years. And in 1863, President Lincoln issued a proclamation that would change history, or so it seemed. The next slide, please. Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863. It says, all persons held as slaves within any state in rebellion against the United States shall be thenceforward and forever free. These are beautiful words. Historic words. President Lincoln's words. But there's a catch. Next slide, please. Words on paper are not freedom. Here's what the proclamation actually did and did not do. It only applied to the Confederate states. The Emancipation Proclamation applied to only to states in rebellion against the United States. If it did not free enslaved people in the border states still loyal to the Union, like Kentucky, Missouri, Maryland, Delaware. It was by design a targeted wartime measure. Lincoln had no way to enforce it. Confederate states were not under Union control. There were no Union soldiers in most of the South to enforce anything. Enslavers in rebel territory simply ignored the proclamation entirely. The words existed on paper. The freedom did not exist in practice. Freedom declared is not the same as freedom delivered. For that, something else was needed. They needed Union soldiers with the boots on the ground in person, reading those words out loud. They needed to hear it. They needed to hear the words. They needed to see the words. Someone needed to come and tell them. May I have the next slide, please? And on April 9th, 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse. The bloodiest war in American history was finally over. It's June now. A Union general boards a ship. He's headed to Texas. His name is Major General Gordon Granger. He carries orders. And those orders are about to change everything for 250,000 people who did not know that the war was over yet. Next slide, please. Galveston, Texas, June 19, 1865. A port city, June heat. A Union soldier steps off the ship and walks to the steps of Ashton Villa. There on the balcony, General Granger reads aloud General Order Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. And the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. You are free, effective immediately. 250,000 people in Texas. Those words changed everything. Next slide, please. I want you to picture that moment. I pictured that moment. I sat with those words and I tried to put myself in that story. How would I feel? What would that feel like? Let's just walk through it. Maybe some tears and disbelief. Like, would you just stand? I would just stand there in disbelief. Are these words true? Can we really leave? Many did not leave at first. Others cried and wept, and some waited for a moment that they waited for their entire lives. There was spontaneous celebration, singing, praying, dancing in the streets. People embraced strangers, church bells, movement, and then movement. This is the detail that always moves me. Many simply just walked away immediately on foot to find children and spouses that were sold away years ago. That walk began the very moment the words were spoken. Freedom was beginning, not the end. The hard road was still ahead. But on that day, for those people in that moment, they were free. They were free. Now, another question that came to me with this story is, why did it take so long for Texas to hear the word? There's a couple of things that went on with that. May I have the next slide, please? Why did Texas hear it last? May I have the next slide, please? Thank you. The war ended in April. It's now June. Why did it take so long for the news to reach Texas? It's the question. Well, Texas is kind of remote, far western edge of the Confederacy, separated from the Union's reach. And there was no Union Army presence there. No soldiers to enforce the proclamation. Words without power are just words. But the harder truth is, Some enslavers waited deliberately, which I felt that was the case. One more harvest. They withheld the news of freedom from the people they enslaved for months after the war ended for profit. Let that sink in for a moment. That was not ignorance, that was a choice. That was theft of freedom, compounded. Freedom declared is not the same as freedom delivered. Juneteenth is the day those two things finally aligned, at least for the people of Texas. May I have the next slide, please? Now, tradition lives on. Now we move on from sorrow to celebration. It's sinking in now. It's sinking in that they are actually free. It's sinking in. The psyche gets it. But here's the beautiful thing. The people of Texas, they did not wait for the world to celebrate them. They did not wait for recognition or permission or for a national holiday. They started celebrating themselves, beginning in 1866, just 1 year after the General Order Number 3 was read aloud that Galveston balcony. The freed people of Texas began marking June 19th every single year. They gathered, they prayed, they cooked, they sang, they remembered. They passed the story to their children. I want to read you something here that I found, that in 1865, there's a place here in North Carolina called Princeville. It's the oldest town in the United States charted by formerly enslaved people. It was founded right after the Civil War in 1865. It was originally called Freedom Hill. The residents built on low-lying land along the Tar River. Despite facing floods and challenges over the years, it still stands as a symbol of resilience and self-determination. It still stands today. You can look it up. Princeville, North Carolina, formerly known as Freedom Hill. So the tradition lives on. And in 1872, the Black community leaders in Houston raised money to purchase Emancipation Park, 10 acres dedicated to permanently for Juneteenth celebrations, a community-owned space bought with their own money and resources for their own remembrance. And as Black Texans migrated across America during the Great Migration, they carried Juneteenth with them. The celebration spread to other cities and to churches and to communities for beyond Texas. The story traveled and it grew. Let me go to the next slide and just give you a short, brief history of how the community became, the celebration became a national holiday. In 1865, of course, the day itself, they came and read the newly free people of Texas started marking that day, June 19th. And then 1872, as we just mentioned, the Emancipation Park. And then 1936 was a little difficult because there was depression. So people couldn't move around as much. They didn't have as much to celebrate it. But it declined a little bit, though it never disappeared. And then finally in 1980, the Texas became the first United States to make Juneteenth an official holiday, a long overdue recognition. And in 2021, a federal holiday on June 17, 2021, President Biden signed Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law. Juneteenth became a federal holiday 156 years after the day of Galveston. It took 156 years for the nation to officially recognize what people of Texas had been celebrating since 1866. They knew the importance of that day all along. May I have the next slide, please? I can't remember what the next slide is. So I'm just going to give you just really quick how they celebrate Juneteenth. With, of course, they got music and soul, but gospel and blues, R&B. The sounds of freedom have always been central to the celebration. Parades and festivals, joyful celebrations across the country a true Independence Day for all. And they always had red foods and feasting, like strawberry soda or a red velvet cake or watermelon. The red symbolizes blood, sacrifice, and the resilience of the ancestors. And the education and reflection, of course, and prayers and remembrance, and community and unity, coming together to affirm freedom is worth celebrating, protecting, and of course, passing it on. And so I want to ask you a question after all of this information and history, if you didn't know the history of Juneteenth. They said that they were free. My question is, free to do what? Free to go where? With what? These people who have been systematically denied everything that makes freedom functional. Education, money, land, legal identity. Being told you are free without any of those things is it's like being handed a key and you don't have a door. So I want to ask you, the audience, what do you think was going through their mind? How would you respond to this? What would be your first move or thought or action? I'll leave it open discussion.
I think if it was me that just found all this, I don't know. I wonder if I would be skeptical. Like, is this even real? Are they actually telling the truth? Because there's no reason to believe that it's real.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really hard thing for me.
Yeah, that would be my thing too, because I would be afraid to move. Like if I move, like are they gonna come snatch me back and beat me because I left? Is this real? Can I really go? Okay, if I can go, where do I go? Where am I going? Which direction do I even? Where is north? Where is south? Where?
Yeah.
I mean, you might just stand there and say, "Okay, I'm free." Okay. What do I do now?
Yeah.
Okay, you can go. You can go. Okay. Where am I going?
Where, with what resource? I mean, the whole
What?
40 acres with a mule thing, like. Yeah, there might have been some folks that got it, but like it was so few people,
No.
and there was no.
I don't think anyone got it. It was
no.
like
I mean,
a trick.
yeah, it was a joke.
Yeah,
it was a joke. I mean, the white landowners got reparations for their loss of income. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So it's like, what were people supposed to do? And so many folks moved up north. I mean, and we're still, you still feel the ramifications of all that today.
Yes. Broken families.
I would feel like I was in free fall.
Mm-hmm.
Just long scream.
And I feel there would be a lot of anguish because so many people they have watched, they lost, watched the slave masters take away their family or hurt the family or kill the family or just take them away. I mean, that's anguish. That's anguish that something that we probably never will experience. And to say that, okay, so now this is something I've been waiting for and now I can go, but what about my husband or my child or whoever else that has been taken away? Where are they? That's anguish. That's pain. So, but did you want to say something, Lauren or Becca?
Yeah. So it reminds me a lot of like how I think I would feel if I was imprisoned, incarcerated. And I mean, it is imprisonment, but in a different way. It's like, okay, your sentence is up and you can leave now. And it's like, well, who's going to pick me up? I don't have clothing.
Right.
I don't have any income. My family has forgotten about me or is gone or anything. And it might feel joyful in some way, but I think I would feel a lot of fear because where do I go now? And is it like, do I need to go right now before they say, oh, just kidding, it's over, like now you're back? And it just reminds me a lot of what I think about people who have experienced incarceration and what it must feel like. I don't know if anybody has read The Sun Does Shine, but Anthony Ray Hinton talks about, he was incarcerated for 30 years on death row for a crime he didn't commit. And he talks a lot about how when he got out of prison, the world was different. He wasn't used to little small things that we take for granted. And I think a lot of those similarities, of course, the time difference is there with technology and stuff, but I
Right.
think there's a lot of similarities with that sort of like you have had this one reality and then you're sort of just thrown into the world as others know it and there's no resources. And so it's kind of like sink or swim. And so how free are you really?
Yeah.
That's a good point. A good perspective, a different perspective. Yeah.
Well, a lot of folks, after emancipation, they actually stayed and became tenant farmers for their former enslavers. They stayed, and to your point, Lauren, like I listened to a podcast called Ear Hustle. It's about uh like life in prison and like incarceration reform and things like that. And they interview current inmates as well as former inmates and all that. And one thing that I remember was there's this one guy who said he was released and then he recommitted a crime because he was so much more comfortable and felt so much safer,
Mm,
quote unquote, actually
mm.
in prison. So, and he was like, I can't handle this. So he did that so he could go back because he
Wow.
felt like that was an environment he understood.
It's kind of like the devil, right?
Yeah,
This is
it's
bad,
messed
but
up.
I'm used to it and I know what to expect or something.
Yeah.
That makes sense on a psychological point,
Mm.
because slavery is a psychological
Experience.
jail, as you would say,
Mhm.
as well as the physical jail too. It's psychological and it's physical and it's mental. So I understand that part that the mind says, okay, I feel safe here. I don't feel safe out in this big space, because
Mhm.
I'm not used to this big space here. So let me go back to where I feel safe. And that's a psychological trauma.
Yeah. I
Reggie,
would.
did you want to?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought Reggie wanted to say something.
I think it's hard for me to even imagine what I would be thinking.
Right.
Um,
That's
you
you said that's
know,
the hard part.
yeah, that's the hardest part. And, revenge is what I'm sorry. I would have Django Unchained in my mind, I think, but that's me. I'm that kind of
I'm
person.
sure that crossed their mind too. I'm
Yeah,
sure. I'm sure a lot of things crossed their mind.
yeah, yeah,
Like yeah. Okay, I hear you. I can
Yeah.
understand that too. I can understand that perspective too. I might
It's such
feel
a
that way
human.
too.
Yeah. It's a very human
Especially if
thing.
I'm sorry, Liz. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. You're good.
Especially if you've taken my child away, you
Mm.
know, and I saw
Mhm.
you do that, and oh yeah, there might be. I'm sure. I mean, we're human, and we have all these emotions and feelings, and I think all those feelings came all at once, like
Mhm.
sort of like stunned, you know.
Mhm.
So I can imagine. What were you gonna try? I kept cutting you off, Liz. I'm sorry.
No, I cut you off. I was just gonna say like exactly what you said. Like that's a very human response to be like, I have been so hurt. The people I love have been so hurt. My ancestors have been so hurt. I want you to feel the hurt. Like I think that's a very
Oh yeah,
human
human. Yeah,
response.
yeah. I want to hurt you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So
One
it's
of my
very
Well, it
grand
makes
powerful.
me, if you think about that, just think about what's happening today. Excuse me, I didn't mean to make that noise. Think about what's happening today in our politics today. Of course, there is a link, right?
Yes, yes.
And the Supreme Court made it possible to take away rights that our ancestors fought so hard to get. And I'm wondering where are our allies right now?
Hmm.
Okay, nobody's yelling about it. Back then, no one was yelling about slavery. Um, they're
Yeah.
literally stripping the rights away from millions of people with the gutting of the Voting Rights Act. And nobody's saying anything. And those millions of people are Black people. Okay. So, as we think about and observe Juneteenth, we ought to think about what's happening right now also.
Yes, because it's very
They're not
similar.
too dissimilar.
Yeah, very, very similar. Very similar. Thank you, Reggie.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Thomas Hansen?
Yeah. One of my great grandfathers was an immigrant from Norway. And the reason he came to the United States with nothing in his pockets was that he had no place to stay in Norway. The king set all the serfs free, but they had nowhere to go. Serfdom was similar to slavery, but slavery was far worse because you could lose your children, your wife, and so on. In Norway, the land owned the people, so you could only be sold with the land.
Mm.
So slavery in the South was far worse, but the same principle applies. Free to do what? Free to start.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This word keeps popping up in my head. It's hope. Because yes, there's so many like heavy emotions, but I don't know. I think I would like to think that some part of me, even if it was a small part, would feel hope. And it might take some time for me to allow myself to acknowledge it, processing all the feelings. I can't even, like we're just saying, like, I can't even imagine how it would feel. But I just, like, in my mind, it's just like the word hope keeps popping up. And I don't know what it would feel like to allow myself to feel hope for the very first time in my life. But I imagine that there would be a spark of something there, that maybe it is possible for things to get better.
Yeah, and I think that's a feeling that will come across too. I mean, I think I'm trying to imagine it too, like put myself right in it. I'm thinking all these feelings are coming like this.
Yeah.
Like really fast. And then you have to sort of like stand there and absorb all these thoughts that are sort of like, like a ping pong ball. That's how I'm imagining it, that the thoughts are coming in like that, just balls bouncing all over. And the balls are all the thoughts that are coming in, all the emotions that they're feeling, anger, everything we just mentioned, feeling all of that. And I think Lauren said, like, do I have to leave now? like, when do I leave? I have to leave now? Like, when do I leave? Can I stay for a minute? Can I think, can I get a plan together? And that's coming across too, like, okay, we can leave. Okay, who's coming with me? And where are we going? And we got to bring some food with us. And, like, okay, when we go, what are we going to do when we get there? We got to bring some stuff with us. You have to make a plan for the next move. But in order to make that move, you have to absorb the information that you just received into your mind, into your psyche, into your soul, into your DNA. I mean, there's a lot of trauma in there to get past. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's going to take a minute. That's going to take a minute.
Yes.
So all of that, and I'm sure, like you said, that the feeling of hope, I think, is in the, we can go. We can go do this. And as I read, they started a little town, and the town is still there. They said, okay, let's go over here, and we can just build a little shack. We'll start with 2 shacks, and then we'll build some more, and then they made a little town. The town is still there. I think I might go visit the town just to see and put my feet on the ground there. I think it was like maybe 2 hours away. I remember reading, not too bad, Anyway, so that they moved on hope. They had to move on hope, right? Because I'm hopeful that when I move, I can go over there and we could do something different. We can do our own thing. You want to do it, you want to do it, you want to do it. You just gather the people that want to do it, and you start a little town. So yes, the hope was in there, and
hope is all they had.
That's all they had.
Yeah.
And bravery, like, right? It's like
right.
It's hope and courage.
And courage.
I mean, I can't imagine how terrifying it would be to leave what I know.
But yeah.
And with no guarantees. So it's hope and it's courage.
And my other question is, does everybody else know that we're free?
Right.
Like when I leave, are they still gonna bother me, or do I still need to hide? Did everybody get the message? You know,
Yeah.
that's my other question. Or do they get the message, but they're not going to abide by it? I mean, what's really happening here? Am I safe? Am I not safe? I don't have any shoes. I mean, how far can I go? I mean,
I don't know where anything is.
I don't
I
know
don't
where
know
anything
where,
is.
like you said before, Ashanti, it's like, where's north? Where's south?
But south. I mean,
What is this? Yeah.
yeah, which way?
I don't have a GPS. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is this a movie out with Keke Palmer in it and Common, and it's called Alice, and it's about. It feels like it could be true. They're on this land in Georgia, and I don't know how long they've been there, but they're slaves on this land in Georgia, and they're doing this slavery work. And then one of the women, who was Keke Palmer, who was Alice, she's brave enough to even think about something besides where they are, just to be brave enough to say, what if we leave? What's past those trees over there? What if we go beyond the tree? Oh, you better not go beyond the trees. But if you go beyond the trees, you're going to get in trouble. She goes, but what if we do go? So she put that little seed in them. Let's just do it. You going to come with me? So she made a plan, and she found out they went behind the trees, but beyond the trees, but they told them not to go. And when they went beyond the trees, it was a whole nother world. It was like they were in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
She stumbled onto the highway. She didn't know what the cars were. She's looking around. So they were in slavery, but because of her courageousness, or thinking about hope, or thinking about something else, the courageousness of her, the audacity of her, they went beyond those trees. I don't know how far. They ran from a while. It was a big piece of land. So they just kept running. They heard the dogs. They just kept running. And then when they busted through the trees, it was a highway with cars and everything. It's a great story. Because it feels like it could be true. They could have these places where people are still sort of stuck there and don't know how, or are afraid to psychologically get out of this situation. Traumatized, afraid, all of that. So yeah, if you look up that, I think it's on Netflix. I don't know. It's Keke Palmer. It's called Alice. Anyway, it's pretty similar to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I thank you all. Did anyone else want to say anything else? Any other comment? Any other thoughts that that the story brought to you?
Thank you, Ashanti.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Very,
Ashanti.
very good.
I didn't know about Princeville or Freedom Hill. I may have heard about, but forgot. So thank you very much. But
yeah, and that's what history
I
is.
know there are going to be some celebrations in Charlotte if anybody wants to celebrate, and everybody can Claude or Chat GPT. But I know that there is a Lullabies and Life poetic Juneteenth celebration at the Carolina Theater on June 19th.
That sounds nice.
It's like at 7:30. It's going to be poetry and jazz at the Carolina Theater. And then I also know that there is something at the Harvey B. Gantt Museum.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look that up, and that's on the 19th also. There's just a Juneteenth celebration. I think it's a exhibit. So, and of course the food. Now, I like the food. So.
Thank you for that. And also, I will be performing, presenting a presentation on June 19th at the Brookdale Assisted Living in Monroe, and we'll be talking about jazz and swing and the history of jazz and swing, starting from Louisiana, how they all entwined and give us the music that we have today. I'll give them a brief history, and then I'm going to do a 30-minute set of all the songs of jazz and R&B and Nina Simone and Ella Fitzgerald and Gladys Knight and Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye, and of course Billie Holiday. So if you want to come out there, it's a short little celebration from 4 to 6. I'll be out there. I'm excited about that. And you have to wear your Great Gatsby,
Ashanti, will you post that in the Wedgewood Facebook group? And Reggie, I'm going to make sure to put the I've got a couple of Juneteenth celebrations, but I'm going to look at the Harvey B. Gantt one. I'm going to make sure everything is updated on our community events calendar, and we'll
Okay.
put them in our newsletter this week as well.
Okay, yeah.
So everybody can know about that. Because, yeah, everybody should attend at least one thing.
At least one of them, you know. Monroe's a little far out there, but you know, I went to the facility last week just to see where it was, and it was a very beautiful facility. I'm excited to be there and give them some music, because you know the music is like a healing energy, and you know people are there and they're not at their homes. They try to make them as comfortable as possible. So I think this is going to be a really beautiful healing situation, you know. So that's the best part.
I don't have the exact time, but there's supposedly a big Charlotte Juneteenth festival at Freedom Park. So I don't know the time. There's a big celebration out at Freedom Park. So
I'll look that up. Thank you.
You guys have to look it up on Claude or Chat GPT, but
yeah, it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot going on. Wow. Okay. Well, so our call to action. Let's honor freedom, not just in words, but in action, by advocating for justice, supporting those whose voices need to be heard, and making making space for everyone to thrive. Freedom is not just a moment. It's not a commitment. Renewed every generation. Remember it, celebrate it, and pass it on. Amen. Ashe. We extinguish this candle, but we keep the light in our hearts with the message of love and justice, and going out into the world, spreading the love until we see each other again. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so. Now go in peace. Come, Coochie. Coochie wants to say bye too.
Bye, Coochie.
Thank you. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Happy Juneteenth. Thank you, Ashanti.